Fine girl, give us your number now. Why they do like this? We have been following you all the way. Give us your number, please. You're so beautiful. Give us your number, please. We want to talk to you. She's a monster.
Let me ask you something. What would you do if you found out that the reason no man ever truly loved you, the reason they all ran away was because of your own mother? Now sit down. Let me tell you a story. This one comes from a small village called Umunede, tucked deep inside Delta State, Nigeria. A quiet place where everybody knows everybody, and reputation is like a shadow. It follows you everywhere. In that village lived a woman named Afonne. She wasn't ordinary. No. Afonne was a woman with oil on her head. As they say, a powerful spiritualist, a prophetess. They called her Mama Prayer. Every Wednesday, she gathered women inside the small mud church behind her house. If your womb had been closed for 10 years, Afonne would pray and you'd carry twins. If your business was failing, one touch of her anointed hands and the next day would bring you buyers from 3 villages. Pregnant women, troubled wives, traders whose businesses were dying, everyone came. They would kneel and she would pour out powerful prayers, speaking in tongues until the whole compound vibrated. People swore that her prayers worked. A barren woman took in after 10 years. A man who lost his job got a new job and was promoted the next month. Afonne didn't ask for payments, but people still brought goats, chickens and baskets of yams as thanksgiving. Her name grew beyond Umunede, even to Asaba and beyond. But in the secret part of her heart, Afonne was afraid. Not of demons or darkness. No, she was afraid of her only daughter, Olonna. Afonne had 3 children, 2 boys, Obinna and Ejike, strong and promising. But Olonna, her last and only girl, was different. That girl was born with beauty that could make even elders forget themselves. Her skin shone like polished bronze. Her eyes danced with fire and innocence. Even at the age of 10, strangers would stop and stare. In a village where girls were getting pregnant at 14, Afonne started to panic. She told herself, if this girl makes a mistake and gets pregnant at a young age, the people will mock me. They will say even Mama Prayer cannot control her own house. The shame would scatter her ministry. Her prayers would lose meaning. People would stop coming and they would laugh. From the moment she was born, the midwife had gasped, not because something was wrong, but because of how breathtaking the child was. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil. Her eyes sparkled like water under the sun. Even as a baby, people would stop by to say, this one go cause problem when she grow. And indeed, as she grew, the whispers increased. Villagers noticed that boys would sneak around the house, pretending to buy water just to catch a glimpse of her. By age 10, her name was already in the mouths of mothers, warning their sons to stay away from Olonna. Afonne noticed it too. She saw the stares, the gifts, the notes hidden under the mat, and she remembered vividly the story of her late sister Adako, whose daughter got pregnant at 14 and ran away with a bus conductor. That single disgrace was what killed her sister Adako because she wouldn't face the mockery from people. Afonne decided that she would never allow that to happen to her. Never. Not after how far she had come. Not after all the testimonies tied to her name. So one rainy Thursday evening, when Olonna was just 12, Afonne decided to do something foolish, something that caused her daughter pain. While everyone was asleep, the night air smelled of wet soil and burning firewood. Afonne tiptoed into her prayer room. She lit 7 white candles, each one representing a spirit of silence. Even though Afonne was a prayer woman, she inherited ancient power from her mother, passed down to her, so she practiced voodoo, but nobody in the village knew about that. She brought out an old carved box, passed down from her grandmother, a woman feared for her deep ancient powers. She knelt down. She began to chant. She called on the spirit of the veil. Hide my daughter's beauty from men. Let her face become a mask only women can admire. Any man or male who sees her will depart without looking back. Let her charm be buried under the ground like treasure never to be found. Cover her face with the veil of a masquerade. Let those who desire her be filled with fear until I say otherwise. The candles dimmed. The room grew colder. A heavy wind blew inside even though the windows were shut. And just like that, it was done. The next morning, Olonna woke up with a strange headache. She complained of her face being heavy. She didn't eat her yam and she didn't laugh like she used to. She said something felt off, like her head was very heavy. She complained to her mother that morning, but her mother pretended like she didn't know what she was talking about. Maybe you didn't sleep well at night. Why don't you go and drink some medicine? She told her. Olonna left with her hands on her head. She had no idea what her mother had done to her, but to her funny, everything was perfect. Days turned into weeks and weeks into years. Olonna was now in SS1, a bright student with neat handwriting and a quiet nature. But something had changed. The boys who once played with her began to avoid her. Some even whispered behind her back. Bro, I swear, when I looked at her today, her face looked like, I don't know, it was weird. She's fine from afar, but when you are near her, it be like say her face bends small. She looks like masquerade. She looks scary, but yet very beautiful. One day, during biology practical, a boy named Kingsley was assigned to her group. The moment he walked up to her and looked in her eyes, he shivered. He literally shivered. He dropped his notes and switched groups without saying a word. Olonna didn't understand why he left her group after looking at her face. Her face was fine. Her mirror said so. Her classmates said so. Girls always told her, "You're too beautiful, Olonna." But why did the boys act like they always saw a ghost when they saw her? She touched her face, but there was nothing on her face. It was just okay. She started sitting alone. On the bus one day, while going home, a man looked at her face, gasped, and removed his eyes immediately. Olonna felt scared and started looking at the man who refused to turn around. She was in deep pain because she had no idea why men avoided her and nobody ever told her why they looked away or what they saw. She went home crying sometimes. Her mother always pulled her close. "My daughter, don't worry. These boys are blind. God is saving you for someone special." And Oloma believed her. She believed her all through her secondary school, all the way to the university. When she got admission into Delta State University, she promised herself, new school, new people. It is going to be different. But it wasn't. In her first year, she met Tochukwu, a cheerful guy who always waved at her from afar. He once even shouted, "Olonna, you dey glow." But the day he came to talk to her directly, he froze. Sorry, I just remembered I need to go pick my brother." He left, just like that. The same thing happened with Emmanuel, and then Chuka, and then Emeka. From afar they smiled, but up close they turned pale, uneasy and afraid. One night, her roommate Ngozi told her in confidence, "Babe, I need to tell you something. Promise you won't be angry." "What is it?" Olonna asked. "One of the guys in our department told someone that your face changes when he looks at you. Like it bends or it becomes scary. I swear I didn't believe it, but 3 of them said the same thing." "Wait, my own face changed? How is that possible?" "Look at my face. Do you see anything?" "No. That's why I told them I don't believe them, because you look just fine to me, my darling. You're too beautiful. I even wish to be beautiful as you," Ngozi replied, laughing. But Olonna wasn't convinced by her friend's reply. Olonna locked herself in the bathroom that night and cried until her voice cracked. She scrubbed her face with a sponge and soap, but nothing fell off. She stared in the mirror for hours. Nothing. Her reflection was beautiful. Most of her friends had boyfriends. Some had fiancés and were getting married, but she didn't have any boyfriend, let alone fiancé. Who would want to date an ugly girl? She would mutter to herself and then laugh at herself. Gradually, low self-esteem began to set in, and she would always see herself as not good enough for any man. And each time her female friends hype her beauty, she would feel they were making fun of her. She began to wear heavy makeup, thinking it would change anything, but rather it became worse. One of her male lecturers made fun of her one day inside the lecture hall while using her face as reference to one masquerade in his hometown. Only the male students laughed, but the female students couldn't understand what they were making fun of because Olonna was very beautiful. Olonna kept enduring until after she graduated, life didn't get easier. She got a job in Asaba at a mid-sized finance company. She rented a beautiful apartment. She bought clothes, wore makeup, and even tried perfumes that cost her half her salary. Still, the men at work smiled politely but kept their distance. She began to wonder if she had body odor. Sometimes she would go inside the bathroom smelling herself. She felt something was wrong. It would be something spiritual that was going on, she told herself. Then came her colleague, whose name was Tony Ike. He was new, calm and handsome. He worked in the finance unit and had a quiet presence. One evening, he stopped by her desk. "Good evening, dear. Sorry to disturb you." "Yes," she replied. He took a deep breath and said to her, "Please, don't be offended. I've been seeing you for months. You're beautiful and you carry yourself with grace. But I can't lie to you. Each time I try to speak to you, something strange happens." "Strange how?" "Your face. It changes. I see something else, something terrifying. And even now as I'm looking at you, my heart is beating fast. I don't understand it." Her blood ran cold. "Are you trying to call me a monster?" No, please. I just thought maybe you should see a pastor or pray." "I'm sorry, but I had to tell you." He stood up and he left the office. That night, Olona didn't sleep. Tony's word felt like thunder in her head. She tried to pray. She shouted, she cried, but nothing made sense. And then there was a flashback. She remembered something that night years ago when she had a strange dream. A dream where a white veil covered her face and her mother stood watching but said nothing. That night, Olona couldn't close her eyes. She sat on the edge of her bed, the silence of the room pressing against her like a heavy blanket. Her fan turned lazily above her, stirring the still air, but her thoughts were anything but still. Tony's words echoed like thunder inside her chest. She stood up and went, for the 100th time, to the mirror. Her skin was flawless. Her eyes still held their glow. Her lips were full. Her brows arched just right. She tilted her face side to side, stared hard under the bulb light, still nothing. But deep in her heart, something told her, "You know you are not seeing what they see. It's best if you kneel down and pray." She knelt beside her bed and began to pray. "God, if this is spiritual, if someone has done something to me, please show me mercy and remove it. Please help me, I'm tired." She didn't know when tears started running down her face. Her sobs shook the walls. That night she cried from somewhere deep, a place buried under years of rejection, confusion and pain. The next morning she didn't go to work. She told her boss she had fever, but the truth was her heart was too heavy. She spent the whole day searching online, signs of spiritual attacks, deliverance packed stores in Asaba, why men run from me, how to break generational curses. By noon, she had booked an appointment with Prophet Oje, a firebrand preacher known for exposing evil altars. That Friday, she entered his church. He placed his hand on her head. He prayed, he shouted, he poured oil. I see it, a veil, a thick veil. Who is covering your face?" But the moment he tried to dig deeper, he stopped. His eyes dimmed. He wiped his forehead and said, "The source is close to you, but it is hidden. You must pray harder. Fast for 7 days. Dry fasting." Olona fasted for 7 good days until she was exhausted. She prayed. She kept praying, but nothing changed yet. She visited 3 other churches over the next 2 months. All of them saw the veil, but none of them could lift it. They said her case was mysterious. One even asked her to bring a white goat. She didn't have the money, but she borrowed money, bought the white goat and took it to the pastor, yet nothing was found out. The problem remained the same. One evening, while Olona was on a video call with her mother, she noticed her daughter losing weight. "My daughter, are you sick?" "No, Mama, I'm fine." "You don't look fine." "Maybe I'm just tired." Olona wanted to scream. "Did you do something to me? Did you curse me?" But her tongue betrayed her. She couldn't bring herself to ask. One morning, after 3 months of back-to-back dead ends, her phone rang. It was Amara, her childhood friend. "Olona, long time. Guess what? My baby girl's naming ceremony is this Sunday. You must come." She didn't want to go, but Amara was one of the few friends she had left, and something in her spirit said go. She wore her best attire that Sunday, a sky blue skirt and a lace blouse. Her gele was neatly tied. She looked like a queen. She even added light gold powder to her cheeks. Maybe today, she thought, something good would happen. The church was small, a new branch of a Pentecostal movement. Inside, the drums were loud, the singing wide, and the clapping enough to shake the heavens. She sat in the second row, smiling politely to those who greeted her. She tried to enjoy the music, tried to forget. Then the guest pastor mounted the pulpit. He was short, bald, and barefoot. His eyes looked like they hadn't blinked in hours. He didn't introduce himself. He just opened his Bible, read from one verse in Isaiah, and then stopped. He began to scan the congregation. His eyes landed on her. He pointed. "You, woman in blue, stand up, please." Her heart sank. She stood slowly. "Who gave birth to you?" he asked. "My mother, sir," she answered softly. "Is she alive?" "Yes, sir." He paused. His voice dropped. "There's a covering on your face, a strong one. It makes men fear you. It makes them see you as a beast. This curse was placed when you were young, by someone who feared shame more than your joy, by someone who wears the clothes of religion but forgot mercy." Gasps rippled through the church. Ulona felt like her legs would buckle. "That person is still alive. Close, very close," the pastor continued, "but she will never confess unless forced." Ulona burst into tears. The choir paused. Amara rushed to her side. "And that's your mother," the pastor continued. "I want you to do something when you get home. Ask your mother a question. What have I done to you? What did you put on my face? Ask your mother these questions. She has the answers." Ulona, what's happening?" Amara asked her as she gradually sat on her seat, but Ulona couldn't reply. She kept weeping and shedding tears. She couldn't speak. It felt like something had cracked inside her chest. Something old, something that has been sleeping for so long. When church ended, she didn't greet anyone. She left. She took the next available bus straight to Umunede. She didn't even stop to eat. She just marched into the house and found her mother plucking bitter leaf in front of the kitchen. "Mama," she said, her voice trembling, "did you do something to me?" Afonde looked up. "Eh? Did you do anything to my face spiritually?" Her mother blinked. "Ulona, what kind of question is that? Mama, please answer me." "God forbid. Why would I do that to my own child, my own daughter? How could I possibly do something to hurt you?" she asked, looking very serious. But there it was, the fake pause, the fake confusion, the slow answer, using a question to answer her question, which she should have answered just politely. Ulona saw it. She saw the lie, but she didn't push. She just walked away, back to the bus stop, back to Asaba. She couldn't stay one more night under that roof. She couldn't bear sharing the same roof with her mother because she knew her mother was hiding something from her. Ulona decided it's best to go back to the pastor and clarify things because her mother just denied everything. 3 days later, she returned to the church. She knelt before the pastor. "Sir, I asked my mother what you told me to ask her, but she denied it. But I know, I saw it in her eyes. Something deep down in my heart tells me she knows." He nodded slowly. "Do you want to be free?" "Yes, sir." "Even if it costs you someone you love?" She hesitated. Then she said, "I just want to be whole again, to be free. I have suffered so much, so I don't mind, sir." He stood. "Come on Sunday. Fasting begins tomorrow. 3 days. No meat, no oil, just prayer. We will lift the veil. Read 1 Corinthians 3 verse 16. Read Psalm 7 verse 15 to 16. Whoever digs a hole and scoops it out falls into the pit they have made. The trouble they cause recoils on them. Their violence comes down on their head. Don't take this particular verse for granted. Read it always before you sleep. And lastly, pray with Isaiah 54 verse 17. Olona agreed. She went home. She packed away every mirror in her room. She prayed, she wept, she fasted, and she waited. And that Sunday will be the beginning of the end. The sun rose slowly that Sunday morning, stretching its warm fingers across the roofs of Asaba. Olona sat in silence in her small room, hand on her knees, dressed in white lace and a plain scarf. Her heart had been fasting longer than her body. 3 days, no meat, no oil, no food, no distractions, only bitter prayers and dry lips that still whispered, "Lord, please help me." The small church was already half full when she arrived. Women in wrappers fanned themselves. Men in plain shirts tapped their feet to the worship. Children dozed on laps, and in the center of it all stood the barefoot preacher, calm and watching. He didn't smile when he saw her, he only nodded once, then pointed to the front row. "Sit here, today we finish this." The service was shorter than usual. The choir didn't sing much. The sermon was 10 minutes long. He said, "There is a soul here who has cried too long, and today her tears will be answered." Then he called her forward. She walked slowly. People whispered. Someone gasped as she passed, but she kept her eyes down. At the altar, he didn't touch her immediately. He looked at her. "Are you ready to lose something?" She blinked. "Because when we break this thing, it will go somewhere. The spirit will not disappear into the air. It will return to the owner who sent it, and there will be consequences." She looked down, her voice quiet. "I'm ready." He anointed her forehead, placed a bowl of oil beside her feet. He lifted his hands and began to pray. The air shifted, the room fell silent. Then came the scream, not from Olonna, but from someone at the back. The woman shouted and ran out. The pastor didn't stop. He pressed his hand harder. Every covering, every mask, every face painted by strange hands, catch fire and be broken in Jesus' name. Olonna's body began to shake. Her knee buckled and she fell. She didn't feel pain, only heat, like fire was dancing around her skin, pulling at something invisible. She saw flashes. She saw herself as a little girl, sitting beside her mother during midnight prayers. She saw her mother lighting candles alone, chanting and crying. She saw a white cloth tied around her head, a hand pressing oil onto her face. Then she saw her mother whispering into her ears as she slept. "No man will touch you. No man will destroy you. You will stay mine." Her eyes flew open. She gasped. And then, silence. The church was still. Then, there was applause, cheers and cries of joy. But she couldn't hear any of it. All she felt was lightness, as if a 20 kilogram of stone had been lifted from her chest. The pastor helped her up. His eyes were red but not smiling. "It is done." Olonna left the church that day barefoot, her shoes in hand. She didn't want to feel distance between her and the earth. She wanted to touch it all, to walk free. People hugged her. Someone gave her a can of malt. Amara, her friend, ran to her crying, "You are glowing, Olonna. You are really shining." And for once, she believed it. The next day, she didn't go to work. She took a cab straight to Umunede. She wanted to tell her mother everything. She didn't care if she denied it again. She just wanted to say, "I forgive you." But when she arrived at the family compound, something felt off. The compound was too quiet. The goats were not bleating. The birds were not singing. She stepped into the house. The door was slightly open. "Mama," she called. "Mama, I'm home. I want to talk to you." But there was silence. She walked into the living room, then to the bedroom, and there on the floor beside her prayer mat lay Afonne still. Her eyes were closed. Her hands were folded over her chest. Her anointing oil was spilled beside her. And a Bible lay on her lap, but she wasn't breathing. "Mama!" Olonna dropped to the ground, shaking her. "Mama, please wake up. I came to tell you something. Please wake up." But Afonne was gone. The neighbors came. They cried. They called the nurse. They covered her body. Olonna and her two brothers sat outside, mourning their mother. People trooped into their compound, consoling them and giving them words of encouragement. The news of Afonne's demise went far and wide. Everyone whispered different things. Some said stroke, some said sudden collapse, but no one knew the truth, only Olonna did. She ran out of the house, to the back of the compound. She fell to her knees and cried like a child. "Why, Mama? Why did you do it? Why couldn't you let me live? Why did you tie me to your shame?" She cried until her throat went dry. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat in the same spot, watching the stars, wondering. Did she regret it? Was she trying to undo it before she died? Or did the spirit return to her like the pastor said? She would never know. But one thing was clear. The veil had been lifted and the price had been paid. The sun rose slowly the morning after her mother's burial. The compound was quiet, too quiet. No clanging pots, no distant prayers, no scent of her mother's famous bitterleaf soup boiling in the backyard. Just silence and memories. Afonne was buried quickly as tradition demanded. The church insisted she be honored, and she was. People wept. Some came to mourn, others came to see, but Ulonna didn't weep publicly. Her tears were dry, stored somewhere only God could see. She sat alone behind the house after everyone had left. Her face was bare, her hands wrapped around her knees. She stared into the bush beyond the fence and spoke aloud, not to anyone, or maybe to the trees or the wind. I'm free now, Mama, but I feel empty. She had imagined her freedom would feel like sunlight, like walking into a bright open field with arms wide, but it didn't. It felt like standing on a cliff, unsure whether to jump or turn back. The weeks that followed were strange. At work, people started talking to her differently. Her male colleagues, who used to nod and pass, now stopped to say hello. Some even smiled too long. One day, a staff member named Chooks brought her plantain chips during lunch. I saw these on my way to work. I thought you'd like them. She blinked. No one had ever done that before. Another day, Mr. Edward, the HR supervisor, called her into his office. Miss Olonna, have I told you how elegant you look in traditional wear? You light up the front desk. She smiled gently, politely, but inside she trembled. She wasn't used to being seen. Tony Ike came back too. It was a Friday evening. She was walking to her car when she heard his voice behind her. Ulonna, can we talk? She froze. She turned slowly. He looked different, less sure of himself, maybe a little nervous. I've been wanting to talk to you for weeks, he said, but I wasn't sure you'd want to hear from me. She nodded cautiously. I wasn't ready, but now I think I am. They sat on a concrete bench outside the office gate. The air smelled of roasted corn and distant rain. Tony took a breath. I meant no harm that day, Ulonna. I really didn't. I didn't understand what I was seeing, but now I don't see it anymore. She looked him in the eye. Because it is gone. What happened? He asked. I was cursed, she said plainly, by someone who loved me the wrong way. He didn't speak for a while. Then he said, I'm sorry for what you went through, for how I made you feel. She nodded. Thank you. They didn't talk about dating or love. They didn't rush anything, but something passed between them, an understanding and respect, and maybe the beginning of something more. 1 month later, she returned to the small church in Abo. She wore a simple gown and carried baskets of yams, oil, chicken, bag of rice, and new clothes in thanksgiving to God. The pastor smiled when he saw her. The face has changed, he said. She smiled too. The heart has also changed. She knelt down and placed the basket at the altar. I came to say thank you. Are you at peace now? He asked. She paused. Not fully, but I'm walking towards it. He nodded. Peace is not a place, my dear. It is a journey. Before she left, she turned back. Pastor, was it really her fault? My mother. He tilted his head. Some people love in broken ways. They protect with fear. They guard with control. They don't know better. But love is not meant to cage. She stood at the door, sunlight behind her. She thought she was saving me, but she almost buried me alive. Yet you rose, the pastor replied. She smiled and walked out quietly. In the months that followed, Olonna began to live fully. She joined the book club, made new friends. She stopped hiding her laughter. She let her hair down, literally and emotionally. And yes, Tony kept showing up. He brought her roasted corn some days. Other days, they just sat at the office gate and talked about life. He never rushed, never pushed. One evening, as they watched the sunset, he looked at her gently. Can I ask you something? Yes? Would you like to go on a date with me? No pressure, just dinner, just you and me. She smiled, the kind of smile that didn't fear being seen. Yes, Tony, I'd like that. The woman who once walked in shadows of rejection now walked freely, no longer hidden, no longer veiled. Her beauty was never truly lost, only covered, and now it glowed not just from her face, but from the healing in her heart. The moral lesson of this story reminds us that sometimes the people who love us can also hurt us the deepest, not out of hatred but out of fear. True love is not control, it is freedom, it is trust, and sometimes it takes breaking generational chains to finally walk in your own light. If you feel unseen, unheard, and unloved, don't give up. You were never the problem. Maybe someone just tried to bury your beauty before the world could see it. But when it is your time, not even a mother's curse can stop your light from shining.